Hello there, and welcome to this.
Didn't know where I was looking. Sorry, I didn't know where I was looking. I can see myself over there. But sorry. Carry on, Alex.
So, welcome to this skills live stream. Today we're going to be talking about some of the tools within Microsoft Word and also Microsoft PowerPoint. The tools that can really help you save time, get better marks, and really do things that you didn't know that you could originally do. So, Microsoft Word has lots of features, and this was brought on after a workshop that we did yesterday, was it? Tuesday.
Tuesday. It was Tuesday. We have too much fun in the skills team, so it's hard to keep track of time because it flies. It was Tuesday.
Yes. So we did a workshop, online workshop that you can find on the booking section of the library website about referencing, and Naomi discovered a tool.
I didn't discover. Alex told everybody about the tool, and I was just like, I didn't know this existed.
And we thought it would be a good idea to show students some tools like this that could be useful for them, as well as, so like I say, to help you with your degree, to help you save time and whatever. And the tool that we found in this stream was the sort tool. So the sort tool on Word, if you go to Home and just up here, Sort. What it does is it rearranges your work into alphabetical order, which I think is really useful for when you're writing a bibliography or a reference list.
I'm still angry that I never knew about. Not angry, annoyed that I never knew about this when I was a student. But as I said in the thing, I was a student a little while ago, so I'm going to pretend that Word couldn't do that when I was a student. I don't think that's true. I think Word probably could do that. But the amount of time I spent manually copying and pasting reference and trying to work out the alphabetical order as well.
Yes.
Just hours of my life.
But what instead of doing that, you can do is... Oh, I'm just trying to make sure I'm on the camera.
Hang on. Can we pull up what we actually look like?
Down there. So you can...
No, that's not real time. We're having a technical dispute
That's
now.
fine. Anyways,
I want to know real time so I can see what we look like real time.
There.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex.
If you want to sort things, first of all, highlight things you want to sort. So this is just a proofreading skills guide update that I wrote a few months back. What you do is highlight things you want to put into the order. You click the A to Z tool, and then you can choose. So you can choose to do it ascending, descending, and there's multiple options there as well. And there's also an options tool. But just to keep it simple, just do that, and it puts it in alphabetical order. Time saved.
But it doesn't,
just like that.
It doesn't just work on bullet pointed lists, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So like a reference list, you've not got bullet points, you've got paragraphs.
Yeah.
And I
could put these paragraphs in
really
alphabetical order if I wanted to. I don't want to, but that's what I can do. So a second thing that I'm going to show you now as a PowerPoint or a Word skill is the styles feature. So up here, Word has introduced these things called styles. So what styles are effectively is a consistent way of doing or of heading something. So if you can see here, I've got a few styles going on. So currently I've got the strong ones for my heading 2s. I've got this as set as heading 1, and this is set up as a title. So these are really useful because they can help you understand or write down your work, but what they can also do is they can help you see a contents list or a content of your work. So if you go to... So what you can do is, view, and then you want to go to outline. Nope, not outline, sorry, click the wrong button. Let's just go back and reset that, so close outline, sorry. If you click view, and then you want to click navigation pane, it comes up with a navigation pane on the left that will show you essentially your work. So if it's a long essay, really useful. So you can click there, and you can open and close these. So I've done this with a few of my courses, and it's helped me basically, like a big portfolio, to sort everything out and easily get around the document. So styles automatically do that. So what do you think? Do you know what styles are?
I did know about that.
Yeah.
You can also use that to create a table of contents in your document.
You can, which is amazing.
So I use this a lot in work. So my line manager Tim is watching this as we speak, and Tim knows that I like procedure. I like procedures. I like written procedures. I'm in my happy place when I've got like a 30-page Word document with all manner of procedures and every eventuality covered, and it's beautiful. And that's really useful using these heading styles, because if I make a change, if I add to a procedure, if I'm having a good day and I've made a procedure longer, then it might skip over to the next page. If I've done it a contents page manually, then I'd have to redo all the page numbers manually. But a contents page like Alex has just done, well, you can automatically update.
But
so
this,
again, real time saver.
But this is really short, and it will literally update as I go. So if I insert a new heading now, so let's say I do heading 1, brand new guide, I can then go up here and hopefully,
if
I then right click and click update table, update page numbers only, update entire table. Look, it's there, and it says this one's on page 2. So it's really useful, saves you time. You don't have to write tables of contents anymore. I think it's a really good thing. Another thing you can do as well is you can change one heading. So let's say I want to make this not blue anymore. Let's say I want to make it black. I can then right click on the heading 1, and I can click update heading 1 to match selection. So then all the other heading 1s are now black.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
you see, this is a great thing to do. We should do this on like a weekly basis. just learn things from each other. Can you, because I was talking when you put the original contents page in, can you just go over again how you did that?
And then I didn't actually, you can probably do it on insert, but I just use the search bar up here and typed in table of contents. So I typed in table of content, and then it came up, and then I literally just clicked on there. Oops. You click on that and it takes you to it.
The search bar, I think, is something to highlight. Because
search bar is something to highlight, yeah.
So when Word went into its current format with all its tabs along the top and the ribbons and things, I still struggle with what's where. But the search button's really helpful because we don't need to know where that table of contents option is. It is somewhere, but we don't need to know because we can search for it.
So I think it's a really good tool. Another tool which actually is really useful both in Word and not in Word is the Find tool. So you can either get to this by, so I always use Ctrl+F, but you can also click here, so Home, and then Find, and it comes up with this navigation tool, and as well as the headings, which you can see here from the navigation pane, you can search the document, and you can search basically the entire thing to see if a certain word's there. So let's say I'm using proofreading here, and it will identify every time I've used it. I've used it a lot because, quite frankly, this guide is all about proofreading, but that Ctrl+F or the Find tool can be used to save you time finding bits of your work. So if you know you're trying to look for something specific that you want to edit, there you go, the Find tool. It's also really good for when you are reading journals and things like that. But yes, so another tool that can be quite good for using in your academic study is the indent tool. So sometimes you will have to use indents for quotes. I know I had to do it with my off-scholar referencing. When I use big quotes, I do use indent, and also sometimes to set the indent level. So if I was to highlight this bit here, for example, I want to indent this, I will go here and click this button here, which increases the indent, and basically effectively is like clicking the tab button and pushes everything to the right. I think that's really useful.
Can I tell you about something else that I discovered yesterday? I was doing some APA referencing. APA is a referencing style generally used by psychology students. I've never studied psychology, I've never done APA referencing before, but you have to do it with an overhang, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
So the first line is upright against your margin, and then this is why I need to be able to see what I'm doing, because my hands are so expressive, I don't want them to get off the screen. The first line is up against your margin, and then the subsequent lines of the paragraph are indented. So I was trying to do that with the indent tool, and I was getting very frustrated. Alex, you were in the office whilst I was trying to do this, getting very angry at the computer. But I can't now remember how I did do it. I wonder if it's in the paragraph tools. So if you open that...
Ooh, look at that. Did you know that?
This will give you more tools.
There you go.
Indents and spacing.
So spacing is something which...
Indentation special. There it is.
Special.
Hanging. So if we do that...
Oh, sorry.
We select one of your paragraphs.
Yep, so I want this particular paragraph, which I have just unindented. So what was it? Special
and then hanging. And that's what you need for APA referencing.
There you go.
And like I say, it took me a long time. Another really top tip, I think, because I spent a long time arguing with Word, pressing that indent button backwards and forwards, getting quite angry as to why it wouldn't do what I wanted. And in the end, I went to a popular search engine and typed in, how do I do a hanging indent for APA referencing? And it told me. So that's always what I do if I don't know how to do something that I know I need to, is check the internet.
Something which a lot of students are asked to do when they submit an essay is have it set in a certain level of spacing. And I know that when I was first told to do it, I was like, how do I do spacing? Well, there is a button here, just next to where you actually put the text in terms of which side of the screen it's on. There's a button here which allows you to choose spacing. So sometimes you might want 1.5 or 2. What that does is increase the spaces between paragraphs and makes it slightly easier to read. Currently I've only got this bit highlighted, but if I wanted to highlight the entire thing, then I could do. And that leads me on to the next part actually. So here there's a select tool, and it allows you to select all or all of the objects with a similar formatting. So this bit here, so I hopefully won't change the headings here. If I clicked select all text with similar formatting, all the text that with a similar formatting is highlighted.
Look at that!
This is in different spacing, so it's come out different. But it selects all that, so instead of having to manually do it,
that's brilliant.
There you go.
That's brilliant.
And so I can then change the spacing of just this
So
part
in
of
my
text.
30-page long procedures guide, I could do that.
As long as it's all a similar thing. So if you're using the heading, so if I was to go and, so if I was putting it all in normal anyways, which I haven't updated normal, it would then select all of it. So if you're using the headings to make sure it's consistent, this tool works. Because otherwise it will either select all select objects. So objects, do I have any objects? No, I don't. They're like pictures. So it select all the pictures and I just edit them. So I think that's really useful.
I think that's brilliant.
I think it's brilliant too. Earlier you probably heard me talking a little bit about some shortcuts. So shortcuts I think are a great method of saving time. But did you know that you can create your own shortcuts on Word? So if you go File...
I'm waiting. I'm lost for words now. We've done a lot of these things. I'm obviously talking a lot now, which is undermining my point, but I've generally had no problem thinking of things to say, but I feel quite speechless now. Also, I'm just looking at our chat. Tim's giving us extra hints to drop in so we can include those. But right now, I'm speechless about creating your own shortcuts.
You are right. So if you go to File, then Options, and then you've got this Customise ribbon.
I knew about that.
And then you go to Keyboard Shortcuts. You can customise the keyboard shortcuts and add new keyboard shortcuts in.
You're very big on your keyboard shortcuts, aren't you?
So
Alex loves a keyboard shortcut.
There are some things in Word that I was genuinely frustrated I didn't have shortcuts for, and so I then found that they didn't have them and made them. So there's all these different tabs here. So if you go to the Home tab, for example, it already says that Control Bowl has a shortcut already, which is great. It also tells you shortcuts too, which is really good. Cancel highlight mode, for example, you might want to make a shortcut for that. But yeah, have a look at these and try to make your own. I made loads of my own, and I think it's really useful, especially when you've got like an account which you can have with your University of Derby login.
That's amazing.
So there you go. I love making shortcuts. The next thing, so this is an update actually from one of our previous videos.
That's a great conversation starter at a party, isn't it? Hello, my name's Alex and I love making shortcuts in Word.
Yes. So yes, another thing that's an update.
I had to clear a room.
An update on a previous video that we did was about the immersive reader feature in Word Online. I can now confirm it is now in the offline version of Word.
Oh.
There you go. Click View, and then you have the Learning Tools section.
Ooh.
Which
Sorry.
is the immersive reader feature that I showed in the other video, but it's now in normal Word as well. So you can read aloud to you, so it can read your work back to you if you wanted to. Really good for proofreading. And it can also break it into syllables, and you can change the text colours. So that's really useful. If you want more information about that, check out our video on our channel about the accessibility tools in Office 365. So other than that, I will briefly add 2 more tips as quickly as I can. These are quick tips. So if you go to Insert and then click Page Break, you can actually have a break in the page. So you see here I've got this table of contents. Well, it's pathetic. It's just on the same page as my text. I don't want that anymore. So if I click Page Break, bam, it's now on a different page. Although I was still
You did it in the middle of the table.
I did. So let's click there.
Can we just highlight the Alex was using
Insert.
a keyboard shortcut for that
No, I
because he
didn't.
uses them for everything. To undo.
Oh yeah.
But you've got the undo button,
do,
so if
yeah.
you do something wrong, click the undo button. Or,
Or
use the
Ctrl+Z.
keyboard shortcut like Alex.
So I click insert page break and it breaks it up. And
So
that's really
can I
useful.
just say as well, it doesn't. So you've got page breaks that create a new page. There's also section breaks which create a new section. So if you're doing something with formatting, so a classic is if you've got some pages in portrait and you want a landscape page in the middle and the next page is in portrait, you want a section break. So that can be alongside a page break. You can do a section break and start a page, a new page with that section, or you can do it within a page. So if you've got formatting issues where you're changing one thing and something at the top changes, try putting a section break in the middle because it will cut out that formatting.
Okay. Final tips. So you can, first of all, icons. So if you click on insert icons, it comes up when it does come up at some point in history. It comes up with loads of icons that you can use, which are really good for pictures and things.
Ooh.
I like
Again,
these.
I've not seen these, but you can tell the bits I've not seen before because I'm oohing.
They're actually quite good. I use them with my youth club, so we use them in our posters and stuff like that. I think they're really useful. But that's enough said about those. Something else you might be required to do for part of your essays is to add page numbers on them. So you can insert page numbers by going to insert page number and then choose where you want them. And you can also remove all of them if you wanted to, or format them and whatever. I have got other pieces of advice. The last one probably would be about reviewing your work. You can add comments, and you can also use something called track changes to track the changes that you make to something. So that can be used for if you're sending something off to a marker or you're marking work for someone else, or you're reviewing something. You can go back and show the changes you've made. So I can highlight that I've deleted this sentence here because it does that, and it comes up here. And if depending on the track changes settings you have, you can see it. You can see what you've done. So and then you can choose to accept or reject that. So I'm like, nah, don't need to do that anymore.
Good for group work as well, because if
Yes,
someone
there
sent you their version of a document, you can make changes. So if you think that sentence, I don't want that in my group project, thank you very much. But rather than just deleting it out and sending it back, if you do it that way, they can see what changes you've made. You might want to tell them why. That's up to you. And then they can choose to accept or reject the changes if it's a document that they're working on.
Spelling and grammar doesn't do it. So spelling and grammar, let me just...
We're not going to have enough time to
Yes.
talk about PowerPoint.
Okay, so that will
We've
do
got
for
too
Word.
excited.
That will do for Word. Now, Naomi is going to talk about some of her top advice for PowerPoint. So here's the PowerPoint that you've made, Naomi. And look at this transition.
Oh, you see,
I'm
Alex has
so
been playing with
excited.
the settings.
So
He's been having too
we're
much
now
fun
less
this
in the
morning.
way. So there you go, Naomi. So take the wheel.
So
Have the
I've
mouse.
just got. Oh, I've moved closer to the camera now. So I've just got a few things that I want to show you in PowerPoint. I've got our lovely Love Your Library logo because I want to show some things. I've focused on things to do with the way it looks, the presentation, because I think I like something that looks a bit kind of like you put work into it. So I've got the Love Your Library logo, and I'm going to duplicate this slide. So I've right-clicked on my slide at the top with it on, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'll tell you why I've done that in a minute. My second slide here, exactly the same now, total copy of that. And one thing you can do from here, if you go to the picture tools and format, is you can crop it. So you can take part of that image and get rid of the rest. And one of the things you can do with the crop menu, instead of just clicking the button, is clicking the little drop-down menu and click crop to shape. Now, the reason I chose the Love Your Library logo is because it's got a lovely heart in it. And we have a heart shape here in, if I can see it, under basic shapes. So I'm going to click heart. You can see here it's trying to crop it in the shape of a heart, but that's not really what I want it to do. If I click that crop button again, this is my crop screen. And now I'm just moving the whole thing. That undermines the point of having duplicated the slide.
Ctrl+Z. Oops. Oh, I've ruined it. Click the crop again, and there you go.
Good. So there we are. Now I'm on my crop. So it doesn't match up exactly. If it was a perfect world, the hearts would match up exactly. I tried it earlier. It doesn't match up exactly, but it does make a fairly good go at it.
But what this is good for, though, is it just shows you that you can crop in alternative formats to a square, which I think is really cool.
Yes, you can crop an exact square. I want to do the heart, though, because I think it looks nice. That's just an approximation. But if I click out of it, I've now just got that heart. The reason I duplicated the slide is because if I now click on that heart, did I just move it there?
You did.
Yes. And then copy that, so I'm going to go home and copy. Other keyboard shortcuts are available. Back to my original slide and paste. It's pasted it exactly over the top. Because I've not done it neatly, it's not entirely neat, but because you've duplicated the slide originally, it should paste it exactly over where the heart is. So I'm now going to get rid of this slide because I don't actually want it. But now I've got this as a separate image, separate from the bigger one, I can animate it separately. So I was having fun with this earlier. I quite like the pulse. So if I play that slideshow, I can make it pulse.
There you go. Look at that. It's a cheated animation.
I also quite liked the add animation and its more entrance effects. I'm not satisfied with just the basic entrance effects. But where was it? Was it this one? So that one makes it turn round and round. Animation pane, really useful in PowerPoint. It lets you organise your animations. So I thought that was quite cool.
You can also potentially crop the other. You could potentially cut the other heart out of it and set it up.
I tried this, so I couldn't work out how to crop out the inside
Photoshop
of it in PowerPoint because we're talking about PowerPoint. Stay focused. But what I did do is I went insert shapes. Here's my basic shapes again. Here is my heart, and drew a heart over it. That is obviously in blue. You could do a square really, but then shape fill, white, shape outline, white. Why has that not worked?
Because you made it completely invisible.
I've made it invisible. I wanted it white.
There you go.
There we go. And then I can move my now.
You
it's gone
need to bring it
behind.
to the front.
Yeah. So if I right click, click bring to front, and then now it's in front of everything, so I can put it back. And that does make that effect look better.
It does. That's a lot quicker than
I
it is
thought that was
to
quite cool.
put it out in.
I did then try to make that into a GIF, but I've never made a GIF before, so I stumbled on that. And that again, not PowerPoint, so let's not get distracted. But I thought that would
if you'd like.
Next time we do one of these, there's going to be a GIF with a rotating Love Your Library heart.
Potentially.
That's some motivation to tune in. The other thing that, there's two more things I thought we'd talk about. One is you see I've got lots of slides here with section 1, slide 1, section 2, slide 2. So I've got some further slides that are divided up into 2 sections. Each section has 4 slides. So depending on how you want your presentation to go, this may or may not be relevant. I think with all these things, it's easy to get really carried away and excited and think it's brilliant, it can do this, I'm going to use this in every presentation I ever do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes one can over-egg the pudding.
Like the referencing PowerPoint that I did the other day.
Did you over-egg the pudding with memes?
No.
Alex adds memes into things.
Yes, I do.
You'll be able to add in a Love Your Library rotating heart GIF.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so if this is relevant to your presentation, so if your presentation naturally falls into something with different sections, for example, this I think is an amazing tool. And also credit to Joe. Joe is one of our student digital learning officers in the university, and he did a presentation that included this, and I thought it was amazing. And because I'm stubborn, rather than asking Joe how he did it, I have since then, every time I've been on PowerPoint, gone, how did he do that? And eventually I Googled a bit again, but I couldn't quite find it, but I have now worked it out. So like I say, thank you Joe for introducing me to this. It is under, I've now got to find it again. Insert. Stop it, Alex. I know what I'm doing. Alex, get out. He's on a wheelie chair. Excuse me, everybody. Right, this is better. This is how we should live stream. You've lost my thread now. Don't even know. He's doing it from off camera. Right. Shush. I've got a little girl, and the other day she looked at me and went, zip it. What is it? Zip it, lock it, stick it in your pocket.
There you go.
So Alex, zip it, lock it, stick it in your pocket. Insert, zoom, and I'm going to go for a summary zoom. Have you moved yourself back into shot? Get out. Summary zoom. So it's brought up all my slides here, and it is asking me for the first slide in each section. So it's really important that the slides are in the order that you want, because that's the order it's working off. It's assuming that I've put the slides here in the order that they go. But actually we've got section 1, slide 1 there. We've got section 2, slide 1 there. And we can click insert. Now, when I did this before, it makes this, it's giving me helpful hints. Those are always useful to read as well. It's made a new slide for it. I don't want them on a new slide. I want them on my lovely or library slide. So I'm going to select that. I'll use the keyboard shortcut now because I need to make things up to Alex for wheeling him out of shot. So I'll use the keyboard shortcut to make him happy. That's Ctrl and C. If I go back to my original slide, Ctrl and V will paste it in. That's obviously in the way. I want them a bit smaller than that. I want them over to one side. So if I expand this box out, and then I can move them within that. Oh, they're still overlapping my logo a bit. Make them smaller still. They've probably gone a bit too small. Obviously, with your beautiful presentation that you're doing, you can take the time to make them look exactly how you want them to. And here we go. So if I start this presentation, first we've got the lovely pulsing heart, then we've got the lovely spinning round heart, and here, if I want to go to my first section, I can click on that. Oh no, it automatically transitioned to the next one. I'm going to get rid of that one. I don't want that one. Delete slide. Let's try that again. And then we get to see the effects again. We'll just rush through them. If I want to go to section 1, I can click on that. It pulls up section 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4. And then at the end of slide 4, it automatically goes back to my starting slide. I can do the same with section 2. Slide 1, 2, 3, 4, and back to the starting slide. I think that's quite cool. I like that. We've got 4 minutes left of the time that Alex and I set aside for this live stream. Did you test this, Alex, beforehand? We've not tested this, so it's a good job we're doing this at the end, because one of the other things you can do in PowerPoint is a screen capture. Now, you can do this for within your PowerPoint presentation, but I think it's also a really useful tool that you've got readily available to you to do screen capture generally if you want to use them for something else. So, but because we're capturing the screen to live stream to YouTube, I have just a worry that if I demonstrate a screen capture on a screen capture, we'll open up some kind of black hole and everything will fall into it.
I am recording this in a format that if it gets blown up, it will still save. Do it.
This is good, but we thought we'd leave this to the end. Don't stop it.
Do it.
Stop. I'm gonna. Thought we'd leave it to the end. So if we suddenly go offline, it's because this has, like I say, broken everything. IT may be pounding on the door in the next 5 minutes saying, why have you broken the entire university network? We'll see. I've not broken the entire university IT network yet.
Oh, yeah.
I did log a job with IT once to try and do something that I got told would possibly bring down at least the email part of it. So they wouldn't do it for me. How rude.
Not yet. So
anyway,
let's
do it.
Let's
so,
hopefully not blow up the university.
We're hopefully not going to. We're still on the insert tab. Over here we've got screen recording. Everybody cross their fingers. There we go. So is it working still? I don't know.
You need to select the area, don't you?
Yeah, I know. I'm just wondering if their live stream is still working. So here it's giving me the option to select the area that I want to record. So this isn't going to be a very interesting screen recording because it's Alex's Word document. So it's now going to record what's in this white, normally coloured bit. It's not going to record anything that's in the grey bit outside. That's really useful if you're recording, well, anything that you don't want to include your tabs down the bottom.
Yes.
If you're recording something on a web page and you don't want to include the your browser bit along the top, if you've got other tabs open, it's a classic mistake to screen capture when you've got other tabs open. So for example, not that this ever happens, my line manager who is watching, Tim, hello, I've never done this, but if I was at work doing something that I shouldn't be in one of the tabs, so maybe I'm on, I don't know, a newspaper site, a gossip site maybe, who knows.
The rebel that is Naomi.
And then I'm doing a screen capture and Dr. Zylstra comes along and watches it and says, what were you doing? You don't want that. So using the, I am very rebellious.
It can also be really useful
in my own non-rebellious way. So by choosing which bit of the screen I want to capture, I'm avoiding that problem. Alex, you were saying?
Oh yeah, it can be really useful as well for cutting like the time and date out there, so it doesn't mean that things are dated. Like this video.
Yes, I hadn't thought of that.
Over there. So the video, it's got the time and date in it.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
It did it in the
Another
first half.
excellent point. So there we go. I'm not going to actually record. No, I will do. I'll record it just for a bit. Oh, it's giving me a warning. Oh, there we go. I'm recording.
So then, yep. I was going to say, yeah, if you type in the area, it will literally record everything that goes on in that area.
This is true. Thank you, Alexander. Alex likes us to write Alexander when it's written down.
And I'm just going to casually just... So again, we can choose using the review function to accept or reject this. So I'm
we're
going
back
to
to track
accept
changes.
it because I approve that.
This is merging our two bits. We are at the
Track
end
changes
of our...
off, and I'm going to accept.
Stop fussing, because I'm going to stop that recording. So that popped away at the top, but I can now press stop. And that's gone straight into my PowerPoint presentation. So if you wanted to use it in PowerPoint, there it is. But what I also did the other day is I right-clicked and I clicked Save Media As, and that lets me save that video in a video file that I can use elsewhere and use in different things.
Yes. So it's actually really useful for a video project, or it also gives you an extra type of media for your PowerPoint.
Yes, absolutely.
It's really useful.
It's 1 o'clock. I was in charge of closing, wasn't I? We divided tasks up before we started. Alex went for opening, I'm going for closing.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Tim, the aforementioned line manager, is still talking in the comments. I'll catch up with you later, Tim. I can't. Are we saying anything that I need to mention?
Tim mentioned a shortcut for the paragraph break.
He's saying that I would never do anything that
and also
that
setting your normal styles to
work-related.
double spacing. So yeah, you can set your normal paragraph styles to double spacing.
We've run out of time for today. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining us. Do tune into our further streams. We've got loads of projects going on. Alex is doing a wonderful podcast about the assignment journey. That's going to be available on all podcast channels. I don't know what the podcast channels are, but Alex does.
And there's going to be a video version with just a picture on YouTube as well.
And on the YouTube channel as well. So it's all going on. Do keep in touch with us. Comment. We will get back to comments that you leave on any of the media.
As long as they're relevant.
As long as they're relevant.
Yes.
Really? Did we not get back to irrelevant comments?
I didn't get back to the comment that just said Derby Uni Library. Didn't have anything else on there.
Oh, okay. If you say something to us, we'll talk back to you. So do drop us a comment and we will talk back to you, even if it's just a wave. But yeah, keep up with all the stuff we're doing. We've got lots of stuff in the pipeline, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.